All right, here with Adam McGinnis, ABCA, NJCAA Division II Assistant Coach of the Year. Now I think 4 for 4 in World Series appearances at Heartland. Side free agent out of Western Illinois with the White Sox. But Guinea, you and I go way back now, many moons. So
Yeah,
thanks.
man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I feel like you all have a D1 setup at Heartland with the stadium. You have great indoor. You have great weight room. You also have K's Academy there for guys if they want to work out in the off season too. So I just feel like Heartland has a really good setup for any level of college baseball.
Yeah, I think for us, it's we don't love to compare, but there's always the comparison, and especially with other Division II junior colleges, I would say we're the top 1% when it comes to our indoor being fully netted, being able to go live in there. Obviously, having the corn crib for everyone familiar with Central Illinois, former Frontier League team, but now they have a Prospect League team. We share with them full turf stadium, especially being in the Midwest, Central Illinois, where we're at. That's huge for us, and yeah, it definitely helps. And we view ourselves in that upper echelon of JUCO baseball. But like you said, even across the country at other levels, it's I've seen a lot of places, and I would put us in the up there with just a lot of different programs at different levels when it comes to the facility side of things.
What do you feel like is key for you guys getting back to go to Enid every year? You know, you're having turnover every year. You're going to lose guys. What do you feel like is the key to your guys' success to get back to Enid every year?
Yeah, I think one, it's knowing what we have to do and changing the expectation of prior to us taking over, and all the respect in the world to the guys that were here before us. But there was a lapse in Heartland being in the World Series, and they were moving guys on. They were winning games, but it just wasn't getting over that hump. And I feel like now we've set the standard to getting to Enid, right? And that is the expectation now for us and our guys. And it's the sophomores leading the culture for the new guys coming in, and anything less is not good enough. And getting there, and even the year we won it all, it's you need some things to go your way, and winning the national championship's not easy, but the expectation of getting there, and like I said, the culture from the top down, but the expectation of the guys that have been here, the guys that have been there, coming back, returners, understanding what it takes from all aspects of it. And yes, obviously Enid is baseball centric, and you got to be a good baseball team to get there. But we look at the full picture of the teams that we've gotten there, and comes with everything. It comes with the classroom, it comes with the off the field, big time weight room. And a lot of times you can tell pretty early on which teams have it and which teams don't. And we've had, fortunately, good kids, brought in good kids. Yes, talented baseball players, but have the attitude and the mindset of that's our number one goal. Our number one goal is getting there. That's sometimes hard in the junior college world because beyond JUCO, you're always thinking about your 4 year. You're thinking about what school am I going to next. Whether guys want to admit it or not, that's on the front of their mind often. But it's getting them to buy into winning a national championship, getting to the World Series, and then the rest of it's going to take care of itself. If you come in, you put in the work, put in the time, the school and where you move on to after that takes care of itself.
Do you guys prep any different going out to Enid? It's a wild bracket. Do you guys even talk about the bracket? I mean, it's a wild. It seems like you guys, the Division I JUCO, and then the NAIA brackets are the wildest ones we have in college baseball.
Yeah, I think the preparation all year, starting in the fall for us, has changed a little bit because we know what it takes to win at the World Series. And throughout the year, we play different teams at different levels and all that kind of stuff. And yes, we're going to win baseball games, but it's the understanding of what's truly winning a baseball game when it matters, right? And we started doing a thing in the fall called the Enid scoreboard, which is we take stats, all that kind of stuff from the game. Yes, runs obviously matter, but we look a lot at free bases. We look a lot at errors. We look a lot at quality at bats, getting on base, all that kind of stuff, executing jobs, because that's when it becomes most important, right? Yes, you can hit there. You got to score runs to win, right? But the pitching side of things, when I look back at the years that we've struggled at the World Series, it's all come down to defense and pitching and fielding your position. And that's one thing that we highlight throughout the year so that when we get there, it's not a surprise, it's not a shock. And when the offense is going good while you're there, that just makes it even better. And it makes it a little bit easier, but nothing's ever easy once you get there, man. There's talented teams all across the country that you may not even run into. I think us kind of gearing our schedule a little bit more towards what we're going to see at the end of the year has been awesome. You know, we go down to St. John's River State early in the year, play a really good tournament down there, get 4 or 5 games possibly. Against a bunch of different teams that are in the preseason top 25 and see where we're at and understand where we are at versus where we need to be when it comes time to hopefully go to the World Series again.
You feel like that's a benefit too with the schedule too, because you're going to have to get through your conference tournament. You're going to have to win. Like you can build for that. It's not like you have to stack up wins early. It's not like it's not like your at-large bid portion. Basically, you're going to have to play your way in to get there anyway.
Yeah. I think when the at-large became a thing, I think it was 3 years ago now, adding the 2 new schools to the at-large, I think it was good for D2 JUCO baseball. But we've super focused on not relying on that and taking care of business, winning our region, winning our district, which has also been realigned a little bit. So we're even playing new teams every year that we ran into. I mean, last year we played a team from down in Missouri, and they gave us a really good battle, and it was different because we hadn't played them before. We really didn't know much about them going into it. So there's always things that are changing, but it's focusing on winning the region, winning the district, getting the automatic. If we fall into the at-large, obviously we'll take it if the year dictates that. But it's not so much about, like you said, just stockpiling wins and trying to get that at large, man. We need to see where we're at and where we need to get better because, again, you're going to win baseball games at this level. Like you talked about from the facilities, recruiting stuff, we get good players here. But it's about being able to win and perform when it matters most and putting yourself up against the best competition, in our opinion.
You also have an advantage, too, from a recruiting standpoint because you're in not a huge city, but a big city, but you also have Illinois Wesleyan and Illinois State in town with you guys, too. That's a very unique setup in Bloomington Normal with what you guys have there.
Yeah, I think for us being, and me, I'm from here originally. I'm from Normal, went to Normal West High School, so it's pretty easy for me to sell the area. And I think just the proximity to a lot of really good baseball areas. We're 2.5 hours from St. Louis. We're 2:45 from Grand Park. I know it on the dot because we're there so much, right? We're 2 hours from the city of Chicago, an hour and a half from some suburbs. We can get to Milwaukee in 3 hours. Heading towards Iowa. We were just at Iowa City on Friday, and that was about 2:45. I think. And being right off the interstate, off of 74, off of 55, Bloomington Normal is a college town with different businesses as well. State Farm headquarters being here, having around 100 to 120,000 people. It's a nice area, and it's once people get here, a lot of people don't end up leaving here. The amount of ISU and State Farm employees and all that kind of stuff, and obviously your family background from the area as well. You know a little bit about it, but it's a great place to be.
If you had to go back and play again now that you've coached for this long, what would you add in as a player?
That's a tough one for me. I think we all,
and that's not taking anything away from you. You had a great playing career too.
100%.
You know, I think you're a guy that got the most out of your ability. So I think it would be hard for you to maybe make some tweaks because I think you got the most out of your ability as a player.
Yeah, and I think looking back at my career as a whole, it's the discipline of some things over others. I think. Obviously, nowadays, with the era of where baseball's at and the personal development, more on the physical side of things. And understanding the nutrition, understanding eating habits, understanding obviously the weight room. I never felt like that was an issue for me, but taking care of those things. And to be honest, I thought where I got in my career, yes, was because of my playing ability. But I also thought I took advantage of, or what really set me up for success was being a good teammate and being a locker room guy and being that guy that somewhat of a glue guy, and getting opportunities that way as well. Um,
And I would try to
but
tell players that too. Like, I'm not picking the phone up with the scouts if you aren't a great teammate.
yeah, 100%. And I think for a lot of kids nowadays, it's even from a recruiting aspect for us, it's fun, but it's getting even more difficult. And it's never been easy by any means. But I was talking with a coach about it the other day, and you go to Grand Park or you go to some of these summer tournaments, and being a JUCO coach, I have the joy of being able to coach a high school travel team as well. So we went to Creekside, we went to Grand Park, we go to the Rock, we go to Georgia, all these tournaments, and the amount of 88 to 90 arms in the summer now, and with average off speed, there's a million of them out there, and it's about finding the separators for kids, um, which is the homework like you talked about. It's the behind the scenes. It's the having the conversation with the high school coach, the summer ball coach, and building relationships that you trust, where they're not going to BS you. I think that's a big part of it, is getting guys within the game you trust, that if they tell you, hey, this is a kid you're going to want to look at, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to take that a little bit more seriously. And it's still, for us, like I talked about earlier with the culture, um, it's all encompassing. It's the classroom, it's the grades. I know junior colleges had a stigma in the past of education, and back in the day, it was sort of a factor. And for us, it's our goal every year is a 3.5 team GPA. We've been around that mark. We actually broke it last spring from the academic side of things. So it's one of those things that everything is evolving, and getting the right guys in is just as important as the baseball side of it for us.
Seems like you and Coach Razzo worked well together. It seems like he gives you quite a bit of autonomy with the position players.
Yeah, yeah. We have a great relationship. He's been awesome for me. And I've known him since his days when he was still playing a little bit, being through, you had mentioned K's Academy earlier, being a facility here in town with Josh Cowton. Met them when I was still playing, was working out there, training, doing lessons. Actually, when I ended up getting released that year, got me to come be at Heartland for the semester. Got my first taste of college coaching, then went back to Western for 2 years to get my master's and be GA there. Sorry,
It's all good.
I got sensor lights behind my filing cabinet. But we work very well from the pitching side of things. He takes care of that. And for me, it's hitters, it's catchers, it's outfielders more so. We also have another assistant who's been awesome adding to the staff, Baylor Fish, his name, Iowa boy from Marion. He's been great. He works a lot with our hitters as well. It's been a fun breed of new school and old school. He brings a little bit of that new flavor to what we do here, from more of a data side of things, but just a thought. And you know me, I'm from the Brownlee tree of baseball, right? I'm a little bit more old school, man. I'm about executing. I'm about offensive game plan. I'm about what we're thinking, approach, all that kind of stuff. And obviously the mechanics and a lot of that too. But it's been a good mix because we got three coaches here. It's three of us trying to figure it all out on a yearly basis. And with me being a catching guy as well, I work with the pitchers too. Talking with the pitchers, catchers, communicating how to call a game, how to read a swing, how to dictate what we're trying to do to certain guys. It's been awesome having the freedom and the flexibility that he's given me, which has been earned through trust and being around each other for a while and knowing what each other are thinking, and being on the same page. He always, when we have recruiting visits, it's funny. He's a little bit more new school. He's a little bit more old school, and I don't give a crap as long as we win. And that's all that matters to me. So, Yeah,
And
it's
I
been
was
great.
going to ask you if you let your catchers call the game because you had really good feel for that.
Yeah.
You were a good, and I think that's maybe a difficult thing as a coach. You were such a good game caller in college, and I'm sure in pro ball as a player. And I was intrigued to see if you're calling pitches or you're letting them run a majority of it.
Yeah, I think the biggest, so our catchers run the game and our pitchers run the game. And that's kind of an anomaly in the game of baseball these days, but I'm a true believer in them dictating the outcome of what they're going to do. And it's not a, here's the keys, good luck, right? It's having a conversation. And we tell guys all the time, you're going to fail. And we want you to fail while you're here because I want to have a conversation with the catcher on, trust me, there's been times this fall where I'm like, we're getting an earpiece, man. I need to take a little bit more control here. But then I remind myself that I want it to be a learning moment. I want to ask, hey, what were you thinking in this situation? Well, I was trying to go fastball up and in. He didn't execute it. All right, great. And that's for me what I've always felt with calling a game. And yes, we have numbers and you can see statistics and the synergy and all these scouting reports and all of it's great. But at our level, it's still not rock solid ever. Right. Personally, that's my personal opinion. And it's having the pitcher to be able to have conviction in his pitches because that's what he wants to throw. We have some guys that are like, I just throw whatever he calls 24/7. I don't care. I don't want to waste time. I want to get the ball back to the catcher, and here we go. Let's get this thing going. But it's the learning side of it because I remember through college and even getting to professional baseball, it was if you don't know, you don't know, and you're kind of on your own, right? And you're not going to learn unless you know how it's done. I think that's a hard part about baseball nowadays. I'm at the facility doing lessons, and I talk to catchers at the 10U level, and it's like, yeah, we got the wristband, and coach is calling the pitches, and I'm like, okay, I guess, like maybe it's that important, because again, it takes execution. It takes you can call the right pitch, you can hit your spot, and it can still get hit out of the ballpark. And I think putting ownership in their hands gives them a responsibility and a confidence in what they're doing on the baseball field, even though they are just kids. We got 18 to 20-year-old guys, and some of them get here, and most of them have at some point called their own game, but others are like, hey, I'm going to need some help with this. And we talk sequencing, we talk about video breakdown, what to look for in hitters, different parts of the lineup, runners in scoring position, everything that coaches are thinking in the dugout, but now these guys are doing it on their own. So,
hey, will we ever get? You have a bunch of multi-sport guys on your roster or not? I mean, I bring it up because you're a hockey and basketball player and baseball player in high school. Like you just don't see as much of it anymore. So I was wondering how many multi-sport guys you have because the Midwest, I think you still see it a little bit.
100%. Yeah, I would say our biggest crossover is we got some, and right now I'm just thinking about some incoming guys. I got some golfers. I got some basketball players.
If they're listening, smart. I wish I would have played golf in high school.
You might as well get the swing tuned up while you're young because it doesn't get any better the older you get, right? But no, basketball, I see a lot of football still. And I think for me, I like those kind of guys, man. I like the mentality of those guys and know that weight room aspect of it and the physicality and the toughness and the mental toughness that other sports provide. That yes, baseball does, but on a different wavelength. It's not all the same. And I love multi-sport athletes for those reasons. I think every sport gives you a different opportunity. I also understand why there is more specification early and having more baseball guys because just baseball guys have had success too. And so I would say it's probably 60 play multiple sports in high school, or at least did up until like sophomore year. 40% are mostly just baseball guys. Would be my guess.
Where'd your leadership come from? I mean, my brother called me as soon as we got you committed because he was a basketball official and he paid attention to a lot of that stuff and just talked about your leadership. I go round and round with that. I think some of it's innate. You're born with it, but I do think you can develop some of it. But where did your leadership come from? Because I felt like you always had it.
Yeah, I think for me it was a lot of parenting and it was a lot of coaching that I had had. I think it was truly, yes, I think some came very natural to me. I have an older sister who was a three-sport athlete in high school, played college basketball, also a national champion. Um, we she would get called mom on all her teams. I would get called mom on my teams from some teammates, and I think it was one from my parents setting the tone of what's right versus wrong, and also just through experiences, through failures, through um, being around people that weren't great leaders and seeing why and leading in a different route. And I think back to even Coach Hawkins, Normal West High School. Played for him for 3 years, and just the standards that were set and that weren't unwavered from. I know all the time. I see him on a regular basis, just being close to home still, and it's even funny to this day that used to it was, hey, everyone's going to look the exact same way. You're going to wear the same thing. If we're going stirrups, we're all going stirrups. There's no wrist tape. And I give him crap because he's gotten a little lenient over the years, which you have to at the times. But I would say it was the mentors and coaches and parents that I had. But I do think there is a natural aspect to it. And I will say that's one thing being at the junior college level is always interesting. Right. In 4 years, you have pretty established leaders by the time guys are there for 3 to 4 years and they know how things are done. And at the junior college level, you got 2 years with the guys. So it's sophomores leading freshmen, usually through about the fall. But at that point, it also doesn't really matter because it's not I'm 3 years older than you. I'm more experienced. I know how this should be. It's always interesting to see the dynamic of that for us as well. So.
You talked about watching other people from a leadership standpoint. With that inexpensive experience, do you feel like you learn more from what not to do than what to do when you're watching other people, maybe?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, yeah. It's always funny because even from just not a leadership standpoint, but from a playing standpoint, I was always just a student of every game that I watched. I would be watching a basketball game or I would be watching a baseball game with a different level of focus for my position, right? I tell people the story all the time. My true first catching coach was Dusty Napoleon freshman year at Western Illinois University, right? We didn't do the lessons. Yes, I had coaches. I played youth baseball. I wasn't at a place like K's Training Academy 2-3 nights a week lifting and hitting and getting my catching lessons in, which I think there's a great benefit for it now. And I worked doing all that kind of stuff. But I learned from watching. I watched Yadier Molina catch and took things, tried it, was like, that didn't work. I'm not good enough to do that yet. So let's try something else. Let's simplify it a little bit. So I would say it goes both ways. I would say you see things you like, you try things, see how it works for you. If it doesn't work, great. You try something else. And you see different things from the intangible side of sport. It's, wow, that looked like really bad body language there, and that was not professional. Or he showed up as catcher right there. It's like, that was gross. Don't do that, right? So I would say it definitely goes both ways.
And you're really close to your family. I mean, that's part of the reason we got you to come to Western, because your grandparents. So, I mean, that's a big part for you, is staying in that region, just with your family.
Yeah, I would say it's important to me. My sister's out in California now, so she's a little bit further away. But yeah, family's always been very important to me. My younger brother's back here working in Bloomington Normal. Just graduated, finished his career at Augustana, up in the Quad Cities. Parents, grandparents, all within about 2.5, 3 hours of me. And I've always just felt like that was something that was important, allowing them to come see games. Yeah, it's one of those things that, again, you learn a lot. And I'll still, on a Sunday afternoon, I'll go over and watch football with my dad and hang out over there and take the dog, give him some me time. Rich is coming off a knee surgery, so he's getting healthy now. But yeah, man, family's always been very important to me.
I knew you were going to be okay freshman year when we were at Middle Tennessee and we played in 18-degree weather, and you're laying in your gear in the bathroom. This is a good story. We didn't play the first weekend. It was bad scheduling on my part. So we're going to Middle to play in that Music City tournament, but it was still cold and we hadn't played the first weekend, so we played doubleheader, and it was 18 degrees, and I go to check on you. The trainer goes, "Guinea's in the bathroom," and I go, and you're just laying down. I'm like, "Are you all right?" You're like, "I don't know if I need to poop or puke, coach, but I'll be okay." I was like,
I was just
he's gonna be
glad.
fine.
Shout out to Middle Tennessee State to this day for having a heated bathroom. I was just glad I found the only heat that was in the stadium that I could get out
It
of that.
didn't help.
Man.
It did not help.
Yeah, and I think even it's funny just bringing up memories, man. I remember even that game. I talk about the bad body language stuff, and I remember getting hit twice. I think it was the first game. I got hit twice in the same spot, and it was literally 18 degrees. And second time, I tossed my bat, and I'm like, God, that probably wasn't a good look. But man, did that hurt! It's colder and shit out here right now. So
You were probably the only reason, if I didn't take this job, if I would have stayed at Western because you were coming to coach with us, you would have been probably the only reason that I would have stayed in coaching, because I wanted to get an opportunity to coach with you. But I made the
yeah,
right
man.
choice. But literally, that probably would have been the only reason I would have
Yeah.
stayed, was because
No, and that means a lot. And obviously, that Western Illinois is very special for both of us through the opportunities that it gave me, gave you, all that kind of stuff. And it was all meant to be. I had a great experience coaching there. Um, I always tell
it's
people
hands-on
that,
training. I tell
yeah,
people that
man,
all the time. It's the best place. It's challenging, but it's hands-on. You get to do everything there. It's tremendous.
100%. Well, even the GAs that I ended up working with, they go on to other schools and get their other jobs post graduation, and they're like, "What do you mean I'm only working with the soccer team here, and I'm going to get paid a little nicer too?" And it's more specified, and it's like, "Yeah, man, at a place like Western, and love that place and always will." It was. You're doing everything. You're helping out, even with other teams, and even coaching under Coach Pasco. It was a good experience for me, and building a different relationship. And I tell people too, the experience I had after you left, that kind of set the tone for what my coaching career was going to be. And I was very glad I was there because um, I don't know how it would have gone if someone who didn't know what that place was about was the graduate assistant, 22, had never coached before, trying to keep kids there and trying to keep people around that while they were going through the hiring process and all of that. So it was a little bit of a sink or swim, but it was also, you learn that way. And I learned a lot in that short window between Pasco, or you leaving and Pasco getting hired, but it set the tone for what it is to be a coach, and you got to deal with things that come up. And obviously for you, there's never been hard feelings because you took a great opportunity, and obviously you're doing all right for yourself. So, no, man, all good. And I'm grateful for our relationship that we've had for, it's funny, I hate saying it, but shit, man, it's been
It doesn't seem
12
like
years.
it. It does not seem like it, because you're our
Yeah.
first recruiting class at WIU.
Yeah.
I mean, you really were one of the people that I penciled when I came over from Iowa. I'm like, we have to get him. Like,
Yeah.
if we want to start getting this thing turned around, he's a person that we have to have here in the program. And
100%.
that all played out. What
Yeah.
were your biggest differences between college and pro ball?
From a personal standpoint,
Both.
like,
Could be on
okay,
field, could be off field. What do you feel like the biggest difference is? Like, say somebody's listening in right now that
for
maybe
sure.
doesn't know about, college or pro. What do you feel like the biggest differences between professional baseball and college baseball were?
Yeah, I think a little bit about what I talked about earlier. It's the discipline and a lot of time management, because as much as you're on the road and you're doing things and you're playing baseball and all this kind of stuff, um, it's finding a way to get better in a lot of different aspects of life. You do are on the road, all that kind of stuff, but you do have downtime as well, and how you're controlling that. And I would say with college baseball and playing for you, and every coach is different, but somewhat the structure of everything. Um, uh, my first realization of, oh, this isn't college anymore. It's just like simple things of communication, but also, and it's all organization based, but the weight room training a little bit different, right? And the speed and agility is a little bit different, and um, just all encompassing. Well, obviously, not having class was a big bonus to professional baseball. Because, but then again, like I said, you do have this time to figure out other things and try other things and go on hikes. And honestly, some guys were starting jobs and doing things outside of baseball, preparing for life after baseball. I wasn't one of those because I always knew I wanted to coach. Um, but I would say the biggest difference was kind of and new experiences as well. I never thought in my life that I would live in Great Falls, Montana. Um, Not just Great Falls. I didn't think I'd ever step foot in the state of Montana. I'm not a big traveler personally.
It's
Um,
beautiful up there, though.
it was absolutely one of the
Beautiful.
best
It's
experiences I've ever
vast.
had.
That's
Yeah.
only vast is what I can use to
Yeah.
describe that
Oh,
area.
and the hour trip from Great Falls to Helena, it's you're driving through mountains and streams and you have no cell service. And obviously all the kids like us at that time are like, why don't I have cell service versus just looking out the window and actually enjoying where you are, right? Um, but I think the business side of it too goes without being said as well. The being a free agent, and I signed for $1,000 in a plane ticket, and it was the best experience of my life. And I would have done it for free, right? But it's you see the business side of it with numbers, opportunities, guys that are playing. You're also little culture shock. You're playing with guys from different parts of the world, and um, that was probably the biggest going from Macomb, Illinois, to out to Arizona for that first camp and extended spring training. It was a lot of just that, a lot of culture shock.
Are you still giving a lot of lessons?
Yeah, I'm
How
not
has that
working.
evolved for you over the years? Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing different now in your lesson setting than when you first started?
it all depends. Being a catching guy, it's every kid that I work with, and I work with softball players, I've worked with baseball players, all that kind of stuff. Um, I would say the biggest thing it has evolved to is just understanding what each kid needs. I joke about it sometimes with people, but um, I work with kids that don't know which leg, which shin pad goes on which leg, and then I work with very talented high school guys are committed to going to Division Ones, and even a little bit of college guys here and there when they're back for winter break and stuff like that. But it's always, I would say, that's the biggest evolution. Is just understanding what each kid needs and understanding where the game of baseball has gone. It's I talked about it earlier. I'm very old school. I wasn't catching on a knee. Having guys that have played for me here, and I've evolved as a coach in a lot of ways, and the catching position is a big one of them. And adapting to knee down versus being on 2 feet at all times, but still understanding again what's right for each kid. I'm still a true believer in before you get to high school baseball, I don't want my guys on a knee. I think it breeds laziness. I think it breeds trying to pick everything and not block the baseball. Other guys have different opinions for sure. And I don't disagree with their opinions because they're their opinions, but it's the game or the position of catching is so much more than physical for me. It's getting guys to understand how important the relationship with the pitching staff is. That's hard in a lesson setting, right? But through talking with guys, and yes, we receive, yes, we block, yes, we do footwork stuff, yes, we talk about tags at the plate, yes, we talk about all these different things that go into being a good catcher, but it's having conversations with them about calling a game. It's having conversations about being a leader on the field. I would say the number one thing for me, and if catchers are out there listening, it's take control of the game, be a communicator behind the plate. Even when I get guys in here, my biggest learning curve with them is them being afraid to be loud and be wrong. I'm fine with you being loud and being wrong. I'd rather you do that than be quiet and be right. Right? It's being commanding back there. And then the pitching staff, all that kind of stuff, just understanding the importance of knowing your guys, knowing what they can go to in a 3-1 count. Is he able to spin it? Is he not? Execution. But back to, like you said, the lesson side of things, I would say, honestly, the biggest thing for me has been the one knee down. And just understanding what each kid needs. And it's always funny because everyone wants the better pop time, and everybody
is that usually what they're coming in for?
There's a lot of
showcase
them.
Stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and I have a good conversation with them. I actually had a conversation with a couple of my catchers today while they were just doing their daily receiving stuff, that talking about big league averages of stuff and understanding what the big league average pop time was. And I think on the stat website I was looking at, sorry, I don't know the names of it, to all you out there that are upset by that. Like I said, I'm old school, man. I just use Google still. But this year it's been a 1.98, right? And you see the showcase events, and yeah, there's sophomores in high school right now that are at an event and they're popping a 175. Okay, good, right? But is it on the bag? Is it in the spot? It's not in game, all that kind of stuff. And it's bringing a realistic expectation to what you are. And then now, obviously, all of a sudden, when I tell my catcher that, he's like, oh, well, I'm about a 185 right now, so like I should be in the league. Like, we got a long way to go, buddy.
Factor in, is the runner going or not? Is there a batter in there?
Did you get a clean transfer? 50-50 on that one. Yeah, and it's always funny because again, like I said, the catching position has evolved, but not that much. When it comes to the true bones of what the position is, you look at guys nowadays, and I've watched a lot of the playoff games, and it's the same thing it always has been. You know, my biggest fear is getting those robot umpires in there and devalue the art of receiving and all that kind of stuff, but we'll save that for a different time.
Where are you starting with the hitters? Your hitters at Heartland.
As in?
Anything. When you get them, where are you starting with them?
The hard part about, again, for us,
because you guys start playing fairly early, right? Yeah, just with the weather, you guys start playing a little bit earlier than some of the other.
100%. So we'll start as soon as they get on campus. So the first day of class, we're going, and usually it's about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks from then is the Puma Showcase. I always have a hard time with it because I always felt like when I was changing things or when I was being coached, it's like, hey, try this, do this, change this, and then you got a game in a week or 2 weeks, and it's like, now I'm thinking about it in the batter's box versus taking the hitter. You become a robot in there. You're thinking about mechanics and am I doing this? And it's like, well, we're here to compete. So really early on, it's just super minor things. We talk a ton about approach. We talk a ton about what we're trying to execute, thought process, what the pitcher's trying to do to us.
How much of that is the first time your hitters have heard some of that stuff when you're talking about approach?
I think a lot.
And when you say approach, what do you mean? For somebody who's listening, because I think that word gets thrown around a lot.
100%.
What does the word approach mean to you?
Yeah, for me, it is having a plan of what you're looking for. And it can be different for guys. You know, there's been times that, you know, a guy's approach is he needs to think middle backside. You have to think about hitting this ball off the right field wall. There's other guys that when they do that, they're super late. So it's changing their mindset, their attitude to, okay, it's not pull, but I need to think about my timing being, I'm going to hit this off the right field scoreboard as a lefty because I'm late on everything else. Some guys want to look pitch, right? I'm still a big believer, and we look fastball away. We adjust to everything else, which is a very obviously common approach. But that worked for me, and I know that worked for me. But it's adapting to kids that are like, well, if I do that, even I'm thinking. I'm like, so what are you thinking in the batter's box? They're like, I'm not, and they're hitting really well, and I'm like, well, then keep doing that. And it's hard. It's hard for some people because unless you have a really good relationship with your guys, you don't know what they're actually thinking, right? It's I remember, and hopefully you don't take offense to this, but if a coach tells you something and you hit a ball right back up the middle on a line right after that off the machine, and the coach is like, "See, I told you," and you're like, "I didn't change anything." Gotcha, right? But
I mean,
it's
that's what I tell guys in pro ball that we're going to pro ball all the
100%.
time. Like, you're going to get told a lot of stuff. It's okay to nod your head and
Oh
just
yeah,
keep doing what you're doing.
yeah. For me as a coach, and I actually heard this from E. Rich, my coach in Great Falls, my last year of playing was if you can learn, and that was extended spring training, and then we went into short season out in Great Falls. So I was with him for maybe 3, 4 months, and I'll never forget it. He said, "If you can take 2 or 3 things from me in this time frame, I did my job." And I think you get to a point in your career, and I ask recruits this all the time. It's how many hitting coaches or coaches have you had up until this point? And they're like, oh, not that many. And I'm like, okay, well, have you ever seen a guy talk on Twitter? Have you ever had a hitting lesson? Have you ever had a summer ball coach? Have you had a high school coach, junior high coaches, dad giving you hitting advice? You take all of this information, and the whole goal for each individual player is they have to become their best hitting coach. Because I have my hands on these guys for 2 years, and then they go off to their 4 year. So then they get there and they may be told something that they're like, oh, that doesn't work for me. But they're going to try to do it because coach told them to do it, or you're not going to play. And then you just start thinking what you have to do to actually produce on the field. And that's my biggest goal with every single one of our guys. I want each guy to become their best individual hitting coach because I'm not in their brain. I felt like I was a good hitter. I knew what made me a good hitter. It's my job to learn what each of these guys individually have to be thinking, have to look for, have to swing like, to put them in the best position to have success and be their best hitting coach. We talked about the lessons a little bit. I always think it's funny because I do, like I said, I work with really 8 to high school seniors. And some of these kids, they come in and, hey, what did we talk about last week? I forget.
Write it
Okay.
down.
So we're doing a hitting lesson for 6 weeks, but you forget what we talked about each week every time. So I know you haven't gone home and hit extra to work on what we talked about, and you're just expecting it to take care of itself. And we're going to relearn it every week for 6 weeks, so we can get really good at remembering that one thing, hopefully, right? But I think it's the same way with college kids. You tell them things sometimes, and until they buy into it, until they feel it, until they trust it, it may never change, right? And they have to be willing to make those adjustments as well. So
Your pregame dailies for catchers the same for all your guys?
yeah, we've added a couple things here and there.
What'd you add?
I started using some of the weighted ball
Yep.
stuff. I see a lot, and there's a couple really good.
What do you
I
have
guess
in them focus with the weighted balls on receiver?
more so movement up through.
Yeah, trying to work it back into the.
Yeah, just the feel of it. I follow a lot of X accounts, Twitter accounts that catching
There's
guys
some
out
great
there.
ones out there.
And
Shout out to
some-
the catching community. I think it's
100%.
I think it's the most forward thinking group we got.
Yeah. And it's seeing the guys that post the big leaguers pregames and how diligent they are with their pregame preparation. And honestly, going back to a previous question you had about something you might change, it's probably stuff like that where it's not I'm just rolling out of bed, going to catch the bullpen, stretch a little bit, hit BP, and here we go. It's seeing them in game 160. They're in the bullpen still doing their pregame prep work. Obviously, they have the ability to take mini hacks on the road and all that kind of stuff or have them supplied for them. But
It's all just
Seeing,
routines and habits to build
yeah,
up to the game. I think all peak performers have that.
yeah,
Some routines that we're going to build up to now get ready to go compete.
100%. And that's what with our infielders, outfielders, catchers, we have them do. We call them dailies, where it's after throwing, go into your dailies, take about 10 minutes of whether it's short hop stuff, whether we're doing blocking dailies for catchers, switch it up day to day, different drill sets, all that kind of stuff. And um, the hard part, and again, baseball, to get very good at it. I think about I can't even remember what company it was for, but Adley Rushman did the commercial of catching baseballs, and it was like they were counting, and it was like 999, 1,000, just receiving the ball over and over and over again, and you can tell he's bored. He didn't actually catch that much, obviously, but just the tediousness of what you have to do to become great, and it's
And be
not
able to
always
maintain your concentration and focus in that moment.
100%, 100%. And I think a lot of times the kids want the new fix. They want the big change. They want to, oh, I'm not hitting for power, so I want this coach to tell me I should add a leg kick. When that's not what we're doing, man. Like, you don't need that. If you need it for timing and you're out front of everything and we got to get in your back hip a little more, great. But it's the kids want, because that's fun, right? Changing your swing's fun to train. What's not fun to train is getting really good and then just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And those are the guys that make it. I think of guys that we've had that are in professional baseball now. They'll have conversation with our guys that are here, and even going from the college to the professional level, these kids think that these professional baseball players are thinking such a different thing than they are because they're at a higher level. And usually their advice is don't overthink. Don't change your approach from what's always made you good. It's the same thing from the mechanics side of things. You don't have to change everything all the time, because then we're always chasing a feeling that we may never get, right?
You remember when Sal Fasano came and spoke at the leadoff dinner?
That
was one of the other things
Yeah.
because I want to get your take. I had my take, but I wasn't out in the hallway with you guys.
Yeah, I'll never forget it, honestly. And seeing him, what team's he with now?
He's with the Angels now.
The Angels, okay. And sometimes when you see him in the dugout shots, and I'm like, oh, I remember that guy. Yeah, so Sal came, and is teammate of yours at Evansville?
My brother.
Brother? Okay.
But he used to come work out with us, so it's good for Sal.
Sal came, and I think it was a Brophy Hall 6 a.m.
It was a Brophy Hall 6 a.m.
6 a.m. practice on a Friday. And
it was Sunday, because our leadoff
Sunday?
was Sunday. Yep, Sunday.
Okay. So he came in, and some of us are getting the sleep out of our eyes, and he has a talk with the catchers about toughness and showing no pain, and all of a sudden he turns around and punches a brick wall. And Brophy Hall's not new by any means. I think at that time it was over 100 years old, and you see the wall shake, and this guy just punches it as hard as he can, and I think there was 4 of us at the time looking at each other. And we're like, man, this guy's got a screw or two loose. But
I got a bill, by the way, from Physical Plant, because you guys were blocking in your shin guards in the hallway. So you guys skid up. You skid up the hallway. So I got a bill from the shout out to the facilities people at Western, because I got a bill for $500 to clean the skid marks off the floor.
I love it, man. But honestly, from that talk and that day of working with him, again, you learn things throughout your career. And something I even have brought into coaching is showing catchers, hey, man, if you're hurt, and we'll get you out of the game. Besides that, you're going to take balls off the forearm. You're going to get a foul ball off the thigh. Like, not the end of the world. I want to see that toughness, because I think that shows a lot about who a kid is. And yes, it is. It doesn't feel good. Everybody knows getting hit by it. But I think even when it comes to hit by pitches, even nowadays, it's like we talk about not getting out of the way of pitches. And we do a couple things to train it here and there. And honestly, we're still not great at it. because I think it's a mentality of I'm going to do anything I can to get on base. And some kids have it, some don't. And some need to be trained how to get hit by a pitch. You're not just going to set up the machine and shoot baseballs at a kid nowadays, but it is actually a skill to stay in there and understand that, hey, I'm doing this for the team. I'm getting myself on base. The best players I've ever had weren't afraid to get hit by pitches. It's you see the guys that make it
That's
again.
an approach
It's the
thing too,
defense.
though, because you're
For
staying
sure.
in there. You have to be able to stay in there,
Yeah.
especially when you start to see really good off speed pitches and good breaking balls that are going to start at you and work away like that. That's part of an offensive approach too, is staying in there.
100%. 100%. And again, the if anybody out there's got a great training method for that, I would very be interested in hearing it. And I think other coaches would as well, because the more you talk to coaches, even at the higher level, and one of our guys was on a visit to a very good Division I program, and he texted me as soon as he left, and he said, "Hey man, I got this new drill. I saw that they were teaching the kids not to get out of the way of pitches, and because he knows that's something that we super value and have never really had a great way of training it, and definitely more than willing to hear anything that's out there. But
That's probably the cool thing with your
like you
guys
said, it's a
going out.
mindset.
That's probably the cool thing with your
Yeah,
guys going out on visits too, is they're going to bring some stuff back to you guys that they're seeing
yeah,
when they're going on
yeah,
visits.
100%, 100%, and it's like we talk about with our players and everything, and me as a coach, it's like we always need to evolve. We always need to learn new things, and I'm learning new things through stuff I see online. And again, I'm not a huge Twitter guy, but I'll be on it and I'll see something and I'll be like, "Oh, I kind of like that," or it's like, "Hey, that's kind of eyewash. I would never do that." But yeah, our guys go out and they'll watch practices and see practices and communicate with coaches and come back. Hey, they said this, and some of it I agree with. Some of it I'm like, well, I don't really know how we'd implement that here, but um, just to open your eyes and your mind to learning and growing and trying different things.
I knew you kind of had some of the stuff that we worked on. I knew set in because one of the first calls I got from you was getting peak performance stuff to give to the guys.
Yeah,
Are you still implementing a lot of the stuff?
yeah, yeah. We that's something that I'm very passionate about, and that's all because of you, to be honest. And I think and it doesn't have to be just a certain person or a certain guy or gal that does mental training, all that kind of stuff. But I think that's the biggest disconnect that high school kids have to the college level. Because they're not getting that. And I completely understand it as well. At the high school level, you have coaches that are also teachers, and they don't have enough one-on-one time with you to take away from practice time to do some of the mental training stuff. But even with my high school team, I try to implement some things. We're not doing all the classroom sessions, but it's implementing little things here and there. And it's always funny when you think about again the guys that have been most successful. It's more times than not the guys that have the mental side of baseball figured out. That's why I got as far as I did. I wasn't the toolsiest player in the world, but I knew the game. I knew how to deal with the failure. And I think for our guys, a lot of that is a struggle because when we're recruiting for you to come here, a lot of guys that we bring in are the 3, 4 leadoff hitter on their high school team, and they've never not played on their summer teams. And it's how do we get through dealing with failure? I'm facing better arms than I've ever faced in my life. It's not all going to be perfect, right? But all these kids, they have an expectation that I have to be perfect every single day of practice. It's like, no, you don't. You just got to get better every day. You're going to have bad days. And something we implement from those is leaving it all at the field. It's having an escape. It's being able to step away from the game of baseball. And again, culture wise, our guys are in here hitting 24/7. I can hear them down there hitting in the gym right now. Sometimes you need to step away when it's getting too much, and having that way to disconnect. And um, again, even the kids that think it's dumb, you still ask them after the fact. It's like, why did you think it was dumb? And they're like, well, I just didn't get a lot out of it, this, that. I'm like, okay, well, on the mound, you changed your breathing routine and you have a better breath in between pitches and you have a reset. Oh, I guess I did get something out of it. And it's the subconscious of whether they know it or not, and whether they want to sit in the classroom with me for 45 minutes to an hour talking about failures and controlling what you can control and all that side of stuff. They're still getting stuff out of it, right? And you even saw that at Western, I'm sure. There were some guys that were bought into it, and there were other guys that would be rather doing anything else than that.
And I think part of it is if you've never really struggled before, if you've never struggled on the baseball field or been punched in the mouth by baseball, you don't really see a value in it until that stuff starts happening. But you have to
Yeah.
introduce it. For a guy that's never had failure before or had to learn, you have to introduce it because they're going to face it at some point. So hopefully some of it gets
Yeah.
in there a little bit because, hey, this is coming for you. And we do talk about this a lot. I think the reframe is if you are a college baseball player, if you're a pro baseball player, that comes with playing the game at that level is the struggle part of it. Like that,
Yeah.
you should fully embrace that there's going to be some rough times at the college and professional baseball level. Just embrace that part of it and embrace the
Yeah.
challenge of getting punched in the mouth, adjusting to it, learning from it, and then moving on. Like that you should embrace that part if you're going to play at
Yeah.
the highest levels.
I tell guys all the time when you can strike out and smile, that's when I know you're in a pretty good place. Because guess what? Sometimes you're just going to get beat. Sometimes you executed 2 pitches and you chased the slider in the dirt because you hadn't seen his slider yet, and
You're not
great.
trying to strike out, by the way. Sal talked about that. He's like, players aren't trying to do bad. Like
Yeah.
that's just not how they're built. They're not trying to fail. They're not trying. They're just that's
Yeah.
part of the game.
And if that guy's smiling after striking out, yeah, he's not happy about it, but he knows he got beat and he knows how talented he is, and he's confident in his ability that, all right, you got me there. I'll see you 2 more times. And I think with the mental side of it too, and the trainings that you had sent over to me and that I've done a lot with the guys is the just even the routine development, like you talked about, going through an at-bat routine. What do you do every time you step in a batter's box? To this day, I talk about that every winter with guys, and I do my routine that I did from freshman year of college until I was told I wasn't good enough to play baseball anymore, because that was something that it just puts you in the comfort zone. And there's a lot of different aspects to what mental training actually is. And it's all about putting you in the best
Peak
position to
performance.
perform.
I just call it
Yeah.
peak performance now. You
Yeah.
guys, you introduce
I love
yoga to them at all?
No, that means I would have to do it, man. I need to get back into
You were the one,
yoga.
and another compliment to you. You really were
Yeah.
the one reason we were able to keep doing it. Because if you would have been like, this stinks or whatever, you were the reason we kept doing it. Because I wanted to try to keep you on the field as long as possible, and I knew it was going to help your hamstrings and your lower back. But
Yeah.
if you would have completely shut it down, we would have stopped. Because I did. I asked you. I mean, I think I did okay with that, with asking players what they thought.
100%. Yeah.
But if you would have been like, nah, I would have been like, I liked it. One, I liked teaching it with you guys. I felt like it was, I felt like it was more team building than anything
100%.
to get in the room together, get the phones away, to be able to get in the room for 40 minutes and check out with head coach with players. I felt like it was a really good team building deal, just as much as the health benefits of rebalancing everything.
Yeah, and I think just like we talked about with the peak performance stuff, the guys that complained afterwards, you're like, damn, I feel good.
Exactly.
Right? It was like that was a good reset of the body, of the mind. Are you happier there doing it? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, you see the benefits and you're like, oh shit, I feel really good. That was a long week of weights, or
Yeah.
that was a long week of games where that was a good reset for us. And yeah, the physical side of it, but just like that, the mental side of relaxation and going through that is something that we have a strength and conditioning coach here at Heartland who does do a lot of recovery stuff with the guys. He'll take them through yoga every now and then, but it's nothing. We don't do it weekly like we did at Western.
And that's probably just as
definitely-
good a way as taking the different mobility components, whether it's cats, cows. Like there's
Yeah.
those different
Yeah.
mobility components in yoga that you could mix in and microdose within whatever workout you're doing. You don't have to do a full 40-minute yoga session. It's not necessary,
For
but
sure.
you can take those bits and pieces of the mobility part for rebalancing the shoulders and the hips.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And I think Lucas Cook, he's our strength and conditioning coach. He does a great job with them. Um, with that side of things, and especially catchers, we have a separate program that we kind of do for them with the mobility stuff. But no, he does a great job implementing all those kind of things with them.
You have a fail forward moment. Everybody's got to answer this one. It's personally, professionally, you got something you thought was going to set you back, but looking back now, it helped you move forward.
Um, well, I've gone through some personal things throughout my career and my time that weren't the best decisions that I made off the field. And I'm comfortable talking about them. And that those were eye openers of life, right? And the fun part about my job here, and as a success coach, I'm also a student success coach for the college here on campus. Um, it's knowing that you're going to make mistakes in life, and it's about how you respond, and it's honestly about having people in your corner to accept your failure and allow you to move on and grow from it and learn from it and build. And with my success coaching role that I talked about, even nowadays I work, it's basically baseball coaching to students. I work with traditional students who are 18 years old out of high school. I work with the 40-year-old single mother of three who's trying to come back and get her college education, and understanding that things come up, things happen. I failed at life in certain points of my life when I was younger, especially, and not having the right people around you. It could have derailed a lot of things, but having support from family, friends, coaches, all that kind of stuff to, yes, it wasn't good when it happened, but
But you learned from it.
getting through it. And like I talked about with our guys, we want them to fail here, and levels of failure vary from what it is. And it can be serious. It can be you miss a bus. It can be whatever it may be. But I want you to learn and be better from it. We do a thing here where we have a free pass, good, bad, or ugly, where you get one mess up because that's how life goes. You're going to screw up sometimes. Some guys use it earlier in the year faster than others for that bus trip or missing a 5:30 weight session. But
How many
it's not
times after the free pass do you have somebody that makes another mistake?
that individual person,
Yeah.
not rarely. Sometimes there's other guys that do. But I would say the most disciplined teams and the best teams we ever had, usually that sets the tone pretty quickly for what the expectation is. For example, something as simple as we were playing Mississauga Tigers from up in Ontario. They came down. Um, some guys were in class. Well, two guys that were in class had the ball buckets. We didn't have balls for BP, and they didn't communicate with each other. Hey, man, I'm in charge of balls. We need to get the baseballs to the field. We ended up getting baseballs to the field, but we had a very fun practice the next day, and it's a learning moment of just simple communication stuff. I always think about the time in college, and I use this story all the time with guys when we had a fun bow and arrow day. Um, because some throwdown bases weren't brought down to the field for outfield pickoffs, and
Explain what a bow and arrow is
yeah,
to
you
people that
just,
don't know. I know people are against conditioning, but I do feel like from an accountability standpoint and
yeah, man,
overall general fitness, I still think there's a time and a place
yeah.
for it. So
Well, and you learn. Trust me, you learn. And that's one thing, man. You look at nowadays, it's like you got to be careful with some things. I get it, but you got to still be in good physical enough shape to handle a
yes.
punishment. I'm a true believer in
By the
that.
way, there's a reason we didn't have a ton of arm injuries.
Yeah, no, 100%. So bow and arrows, you start, you run the warning track, you can run, sprint back to center field, all timed. Group sitting there doing
Leg
some
tosses.
usually leg tosses or planks or something. And I couldn't even tell you the number we got up to that day, but it's the accountability thing for me of all getting kids out of the mindset of somebody else will do it or somebody else will pick it up. It's like, well, if you know you need something done, you take accountability, you take control of the situation. You walk by that piece of garbage, pick it up. Oh, well, somebody else will get it. That's not my job. It's not. Whose is it? Right? It's not going to pick itself up. Simple things like that that I try to instill in our guys. Of again, I think it goes back to some are born with it, where it's if you walk by something that's out of place, you walk by a chair that's not pushed into a table, you push it in. Other people, that's not my problem. I haven't done that, and it's getting everyone on the same page of what expectations are of just life and picking up each other, taking care of your teammates. If it was a freshman with the bucket, sophomores, we did this same thing last year. We had a practice where there were no buckets out here because they were in class. You guys went through this once. Why didn't we learn from it? So guess what? We're going to learn from it again this time.
Love it. Have you added any evening or morning routines in? You're getting older now. You're way behind me, but you're getting older now. Have you added anything in evening or morning wise?
No, I have not. And honestly, with my day, it's busy. You're a
When's it
different
start?
breed.
I mean, when's it start for you? When's it end? Your day for
Yeah,
people that don't know. Like I know it's hectic for you. So when's it start? When's it end?
Yeah, so with my jobs, I have multiple other jobs that I do besides just coaching baseball here. We practice at 8 a.m. every day. So for me, it's I'm up at 7, getting a breakfast, getting here to the field, getting the stadium set up, whatever's needed that day. And honestly, 8 a.m. practices in the fall are great. It just opens up the day for getting everything else done. Our guys' daily schedule, they have weights in the morning before that, come out, and that's 3 days a week, so they're not lifting every day, but they come out to practice afterwards. Most have class from 11 to 2, 11 to 3, and it frees up their evenings to hang out, get the study tables, get homework done, do whatever needs to be done for the day. And after that, usually we get done around 10:30, 11. I come over to the office, or if there's stuff that I have to do out at the corn crib, I'm the director of stadium operations out there now. So there's days where I'll be out there from 11 to 2-ish. 2 o'clock, I'll come over here from 2 to 5 or so. Hopefully, usually I'm getting better at preparing for lunch. Sometimes it's just an uncrustable if that's what the day calls for. But and then if I have lessons at night, so it'll be 5 or 6 to 8 o'clock, and then shut her down for the day. Obviously, that's not every day for me. And taking this new role, and lessons are obviously very seasonal as well of when more people want in. But it's good, man, and it's all. I'm much more successful in life when I'm busy and doing other things, and it's all very meaningful to me. It's all stuff that I care about. From even, to be honest, the success coaching side of stuff with the students here at Heartland Community College. Other JUCO coaches out there know you have other roles when you're at a college to help you get paid and make some money. And I originally did it for that, and I've grown to love it. You know, I work with students, I impact their lives with something as simple as, hey, mom and dad ain't going to wake you up for college anymore. Guess what? You're on your own. Let's find a way to work on these time management strategies, or connect them with resources on campus. We have a ton of resources here for all students when they go through things, because like we talked about with the failures of baseball, some people have never failed in life. Some people have never had a death in the family. Some people have never had a traumatic experience, and hopefully they never do. But that's not usually how life works. And having people to help you and get through those moments has been very rewarding for me on a non-baseball side of things.
How cool is that though? Because you can take your athletic coaching side and really throw that into the general population. Because I guarantee a majority of those people have never heard any of that stuff or been coached in any way. I think everybody needs a coach at some point. Even the general population needs a coach at some point. And how cool is that for you to be able to affect the general population too?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I sometimes have to be mindful of who I'm meeting with. Obviously, sometimes my success coaching appointments with my players are a little different than the average student, but the comparisons and everything that I talk about with students is comparable to stuff that I learned through baseball. It's something as simple as a time management strategy. This student's struggling to find time to get homework done. Um, as an athlete, we always had study tables, so that was never an issue. So it's creating a form of study tables for them, whether they're coming here to sit outside of my office at a table and do some assignments, or setting up a time and accountability check-in of, hey, I'm at the library. Shoot me an email when you're at the library. I know you're there. Great. Different things like that that athletes learn through sport, like you said, are beyond valuable to an everyday student. And just like athletes as well, they don't all listen. They don't all take the advice, and that's fine as long as we tried and we try to get them in the office and have a conversation. And if they don't want help, they don't want help. It's how everything works, right?
Congrats on the award, by the way. And by the way, I
Thank
had
you.
nothing to
Thank
do
you.
with it. People don't even know that you played for me for the most part.
That's
I
funny,
found
man.
out after the fact. I was like, oh, good for Adam, man. That's awesome. But by the way,
Yeah,
well deserved. I mean, you guys have
I
done a
appreciate it.
tremendous job at Heartland. I'm so proud of you and so happy for you. But I mean, what does this mean for you, assistant coach
No,
today?
it means a lot, man. Since I started coaching, and obviously you being a big part of that, I knew how important and how special the ABCA is. It's been awesome going to the conventions, meeting different coaches, being in the room with just great people. It means a lot, and I'm always. It's funny. I had told my girlfriend. I told Courtney finally, and she goes, we were getting ready for bed, and I was like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, I got an interview with Brownlee tomorrow. I won this award." And um, she texted my family, and my mom said it perfectly. She's like, "We're not great at bragging about ourselves," and I'm like, It's hard for me, and but it is an honor, and it's a testament to the coaches that have came before me here, the coaches that have impacted my life, the coaches I'm currently coaching with, and obviously the reason we all do it is the players and the guys that put us in this position. Um, to accept awards like this. I'm not great at doing that, and but
You
it's
deserve the
about those
recognition, though.
guys.
Proud of
Yeah,
you, man.
no, no, and I really appreciate it, man. It means a lot.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate you. Love you. I'll see you in
Yes,
Columbus.
sir. Love you
Appreciate you.
too. Talk to you.